we're descending toward Hill Valley, California at 4:29 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
That is fantastic, Doc. You know, I really appreciate the ride. I don't know if I told you, but I'm kind of doing this show today. Maybe I told you about it. It's called EMoney's Reviews. You know, I talk about entertainment news, movies, things like that. It's a pretty good show. You know, if you're not busy, you know, maybe you want to stick around a little and... okay. No, you're busy. I get it.
Precisely.
It's just the time traveler doesn't have time to stick around and watch his buddy's show. Just saying, that's a little weird. You know, there were two DeLoreans in 1885, right? I mean, there was the one that you and Marty were trying to get up to 88 miles an hour, and then there was the one you buried in the mine. You know, if you had thought to save a little fuel from the one in the mine, you know, maybe you and Marty could have saved yourself the whole trouble of robbing a train. What? Don't look at me like that. You know I'm right. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, you're the genius. 130 years of time travel still can't get out of Hill Valley. Hey Doc, I really appreciate the ride. Look, I'm sorry about the whole comment I made earlier about the other DeLorean and everything. It's just okay. Car's still a piece of crap. Hey movie lovers, welcome to a very special E-Money's Reviews on this, the day that Doc, Marty, and Jennifer arrived in 2015. It's been a long time coming. We got a great episode planned for today. In a little bit, I'm going to show you guys a few things that you may or may not have known about Back to the Future. And then a little later, we're going to take a look at how reality held up to the movie's vision of 2015. But first, let's take a look at what one of the movie's former cast members is up to. Did you know Tom Wilson, Biff Tannen himself, has made a living as a stand-up comedian in recent years? And one of the best parts of his act is this little ditty. Take a look.
When I'm flying in a plane or I'm on the street, there's a lot of friendly people that I like to meet. They shake my hand but never ask my name, and they start asking questions that are always the same. Hey, what's Michael J. Fox like? He's nice. What's Christopher Lloyd like? Kinda quiet. What's Crispin Glover like? Unusual. Stop asking me the question. I went to the bar mitzvah of my nephew Josh. Now I'm not Jewish, but I like to nosh. Put on my yarmulke, started to pray. When the rabbi leaned over and I heard him say, hey, was that real manure? No, it wasn't. How was that DeLorean? A piece of garbage. Do those hoverboards really fly? It's a movie. Stop asking me the question. Can we take your picture? Come on, look mean. Would you call my friend a butthead on his answering machine? Questions fill my head. I went to my doctor said, what does a key grip do? Set up lights. What does the best boy do? Help the key grip. What does a producer do? I don't know. Stop asking me the question. Do you all hang out together? No, we don't. How's Crispin Glover? I never talked to him. Back to the Future 4. Not happening. Stop asking me the question. Hey, who's the nicest famous guy you know? Adam Sandler. Who is the biggest jerk? Gary Busey. How much money do you make? More than you do. So stop asking me the question.
But I wanted Back to the Future Part 4. See? I even auditioned for the part a few years ago with my boy Charlie. Okay, so maybe we're not going to be getting a new movie anytime soon, and we just have to keep enjoying the originals. But did you guys know the vision that became Back to the Future wasn't the original concept? In the early drafts of the script, Robert Zemeckis had some very different ideas for what would eventually become his masterpiece, Back to the Future. For starters, in an early draft of the script, the time machine wasn't a DeLorean, or even a vehicle at all for that matter. It was, get this, a refrigerator. I think Zemeckis may have been hitting a little too close to another time traveler with that one. Then in another draft, the time machine was written as a tank or an all-terrain vehicle. The logic being that when traveling in time, you might not always arrive on a paved or even a dirt road, and that the vehicle needed to be prepared for most scenarios. The DeLorean was eventually chosen as the time machine over other sports cars of the day because with its wing doors, it could conceivably be mistaken for a UFO. Another early draft concept that was eventually changed was the Doc's faithful canine companion Einstein was originally a chimp. I'm going to have to say good call on changing that one, as I'm not sure most people would have bought into the story with Einie being a chimp. And even after filming began, changes were still being made. Did you guys know Michael J. Fox was not the original Marty McFly? The part was first given to actor Eric Stoltz. But a few weeks into production, filmmakers realized that things were not working out. Take a look at this short documentary clip.
We were given a mandate that we had to make the movie by a certain date. And if we didn't make the movie by a certain date, they would cancel the movie. So being a young and a hungry filmmaker, and maybe having a bit of an inflated ego, I thought, well, I can make this work.
So, you know, as you do when you're making a movie, you finally make a decision, and that first decision was to go with Eric Stoltz.
We shot for 5 weeks with Eric. He was totally professional, but there was just something missing.
He's a magnificent actor, but his comedy sensibilities were very different than what I had written with Bob, and he and I just never were able to make that work.
And he showed me the first 5 weeks of footage cut together, and he just said, I don't think we're getting the laughs that I was hoping we would get. And I looked at Bob and I realized that he was absolutely correct, and I said, Bob, what do you want to do?
So I had to make this horrific decision, which was very heartbreaking for everybody. But luckily, I was able to convince the studio to let me reshoot 5 weeks of work.
Tough break. But to sum up, if filmmakers had gone with some of their original concepts and ideas, what would have eventually become this could have ended up looking something like this. Proving that your first idea isn't always your best one. Well, now that 2015 is here, what do we have that the movie envisioned we would have by this time? Well, we don't have the flying cars just yet. And frankly, I'm not sure I would trust most of you with flying cars. And while some inventors have tried to give us the hoverboard, like this guy here, it isn't available on the open market just yet. I also couldn't help but notice that I don't have my pizza hydrator yet. I mean, what the hell, Black & Decker? I was really looking forward to that one. And while 3D movies are all the craze right now, we still don't have advertisements that can do stuff like this. No robot dog walkers just yet, just those robots that vacuum our floors, but not very well. And we have plenty of video conferencing going on, and we are definitely obsessed with our personal electronic devices, so yeah, we got that part down. Alright guys, it's time for today's movieism, and here is your spoiler alert. And in honor of Back to the Future Day, today's movieism is called the Time Travel Foobar. Guys, if you ever get the ability to time travel, may I recommend, don't try to mess with stuff. I mean, how many movies have tried to teach us this lesson? If you get the ability to time travel, just observe and learn things. You know, solve the great mysteries of time, but do not try to change things because you're only going to make things worse. And absolutely do not cross your own personal timeline. Marty McFly crosses his parents' path in 1955, almost wipes himself from existence. The Butterfly Effect. Ashton Kutcher couldn't get anything right in that movie. And neither could his character. He changes one thing, he makes another thing worse. Project Almanac. You cross your own timeline enough times and the ripple effects become irreversible. Guys, don't cross your own path, just observe and learn. Alright guys, that just about does it for this episode, but before we go, let's hear a very special message from our friend in time.
Great start! If my calculations are correct, it is now precisely October 21st, 2015. The future has finally arrived. Yes, it is different than we all thought. But don't worry, it just means your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one.
See you in the future. Oh no. Oh no. Guys, this is what I was talking about. Doc, what did you do? Doc, is this about that comment I made about the DeLorean, you son of a bitch?